Hi everybody, I just wanted to make a quick introduction video to John Chapman, who is one of our teammates and one of my mentors on the Prosperity team. Today he's going to talk to you about why it is important to be committed to the process.
What's going on, folks?
Enjoy!
This is John Chapman, and in today's video blog post, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you just a little bit of insight that I had earlier today. You know, I was taking a look at my numbers from last week, and I noticed that on June 26th and June 27th, between that 48-hour period, I had basically made $2,375. I generated $2,375 in revenue into my business, and since I get paid 100% commission, you know, it was obviously a pretty good 48-hour time frame. But the really cool thing about that was even though it felt good to take a look at that and see that that had happened, it really wasn't that big of a deal. It really wasn't that big of a deal. You know, thinking back to it right now, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. 23.75, yeah, that's cool. In 48 hours, you know. And then, you know, that was my thought process as I had seen those numbers on the page as I was reviewing my stats for the week, you know, how much income that I had earned. And that was just for the 26th and the 27th. But then a thought occurred to me. Back when I was first getting started and, you know, I was going through some rough times and trying to make it and trying to catch my sea legs, so to speak. If I would have made $2,375 in a 48-hour time span, I would have been shouting from the mountaintops. I would have been overjoyed. I'd have been overjoyed because I worked so hard for it. As a matter of fact, it flashed me back to when I used to work in a cold storage warehouse. I was working the graveyard shift in a cold storage warehouse. And if you've never been in a cold storage warehouse, just think of the freezer section in your local supermarket, just about 10 times colder because they have to keep everything frozen, including you. So when you're inside that storage warehouse, that cold storage warehouse, everything's incredibly cold. And you, as a warehouse worker, I was a picker, which means I'd get a pick sheet and I'd drive around on my little sled and I'd pick stuff from the pallets. You know, pallets that were stacked on the floor, pallets that were stacked around chest height, and I'd have to bring them down and I'd fill one order, then I'd go off and I'd fill on another order. And the bottom line is that once you develop the sweat, you had to keep on going, and you had to actually even go a little bit faster. First of all, you had to move fast because that's just your job. Second of all, you had to move fast because if you didn't, you'd freeze your ass off. I mean, quite frankly. Third is that once you started to move and once you started to put in some work in, you had to continue moving fast because if you slowed down and you allowed your body to cool down, the sweat would actually freeze on your face. And to say that that was a miserable job, that would be the understatement of the year. I hated that job. I hated that job. The one saving grace in that job was that it had allowed me to wear one earbud from my, I don't know if it's from my phone or from an MP3 player. But the bottom line is that when I was working, I had on empowering audios. I had on different speakers from different companies, you know, teaching me and growing myself on a personal basis. And that really kept me going. That really kept me going in some of those dark times, you know, that I was experiencing at that point in my life. But I remember clear as day, or night, so to speak, when I was in that warehouse and I was listening to Anthony Robbins, to Tony Robbins, and to Jim Rohn, And I remember saying to myself, I promise that I'm going to get better. I promise that I'm going to work this out. I promise that I'm going to learn. And it was years still. It was it was several years until I finally knew how to do what I do now. I finally it was years before I learned how to generate 100 leads in a day, generate over 230 leads in a 48-hour period, and be able to sponsor almost at will now. It was a long time, but see, the moral of the story here is that even back then, even when I was going through some of my dark times, I made a commitment. I made a commitment to the process. I made a commitment to win. I knew that I would win. I didn't know how, but I knew that I was going to win because I made that decision that I would never stop trying. That I would never stop trying. That I made a commitment to the process. See, that's the key. That's the type of commitment that you have to your business. That's the type of commitment that you have to your life. You have to step up to the table and say, I don't give a shit about what happens. I am going to make it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it takes me 1 year, if it takes me 5 years, if it takes me 10 years. For myself, on a personal basis, it took about 6.5 years. It took about 6.5 years. It took me several companies. It took me a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and quite frankly, I wouldn't change anything for the world. I'm still in the process of becoming, and by no means have I, quote unquote, made it, but I know that I will get there because I've committed to the process. Because years back, when I was freezing my butt off in that cold storage warehouse, and I had that one earbud in my ear, I made a commitment that I was going to win and that I was going to win big. And that's really the plain, simple truth of the matter. From that cold storage warehouse where I'd work 160 hours plus a week, not a week, a month, over 160 hours plus a month, because at the end of our shift, they would always tell us, hey guys, sorry, can't go home, we need 2 more hours. Which would just break your heart. And I make about $1,600 a month gross because I was unskilled labor. I was unskilled labor. And to go from earning $1,600 a month, backbreaking, miserable work, to earning over $2,300 in a 48-hour period where I worked a total of 6 hours. The bottom line is that if I can make it, so can you. If you make the commitment to do your business, if you take the daily disciplines that are going to create your empire, that are going to develop yourself and develop your life, you can make it. Rest assured, if I can make it. You guys see me, I'm a little bit more polished right now. I got a little bit more flow. I have a little bit more chi energy. It's because I've worked on myself for a very long time to get to where I am today. And if you think I'm a badass right now, wait until you see me a year from now. So that is my message of hope and of prosperity and of power to you. You can make it. Make a decision. Get started today. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao for now.
So after watching that video, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, wow, I think I could be committed to a process that could potentially earn me that kind of income one day, then it's simple. All you need to do is join our prosperity team. Click the link above this video or below this video to get started today. It's that simple. Commit to the process. Click the link. Have a great day. Bye.